but it feels like a lot of people have this sense that we are in a prison planet, that we fucked up.
Oh, nice reference.
We're under the lockdown, and everybody, like, all the smart people have already escaped. They're either living inside of the Earth, they're either living in the Gartha, or they're living in some other dimension right now, and we're just like stuck here. We can't go into Antarctica. That's off limits. Like,
they shoot you.
I contacted a friend of mine and asked her to send a satellite up there because she was going to send the satellite to take pictures. And she was like, oh, of course we can do it. We got permission from yada, yada, yada. No word from her right now. I'm messaging her and I go get a reply. And she is somebody who's like always messaging back with me. So it's like, what the fuck happened? Did they tell her something? Like, because Antarctica, fucking Antarctica, like, Operation Highjump, Admiral Byrd, going
You're speaking my language right now.
Yeah, like a scientific exploration with all these fucking warships and, no scientists, just like soldiers there. And then all this, all these stories that come out about like that magazine article that he had, I believe, like in this South American magazine, talking about how, we didn't actually win World War II and how like they're going to overpower us through being able to just like zip from one part of the Earth to another. And then we have this whole Jacques Vallée, I don't know if you're familiar with that guy, but he's a writer who also talks about the psychological effect of UFOs that have had on people. And one interpretation of Roswell was that Roswell was the Nazis fucking with us. It was basically them putting some deformed being inside of inside of this weird craft, landing it there for them to be like, oh my god, is it aliens? Is it little green men from outer space? It's like, no, at least according to this theory, it's just this fucked up human being who's like all weird, and they're just playing a joke on us. They're like,
I've never once believed. Let me hit on a couple things real quick.
Yes.
I've never once believed that UFOs were ever aliens. I was like, nah, it's fucking people, dude. That's just people.
No, they're demons.
Fucking new aircraft. I'll hit on the
demons
demons thing in a second too.
Yeah, okay.
Number two, right? The whole MKUltra thing, right?
MKUltra money.
I'm sure that you are aware of during MKUltra they fuck with the whole brain chip thing extensively.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And in like 1973, they were like, we can do all these things. Then you see the Neuralink conference, and you're like, huh, these are the same. It's almost like this is the same technology being released to the public. That's weird.
I think they even came up with memory, like they didn't come up with, but they had a thing to do with memory castle concept as well.
Yeah.
That they were playing with, yeah.
Then
Stargate came along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead,
Can I
Remus.
float an idea here for Noah? Considering you have the beautiful emperor on your as your icon.
Oh, of course.
So I've always thought I've had an idea here for a while that's it's like things like Warhammer 40,000, right? If you think about them, especially from a metaphysical standpoint, like the way the chaos works, the way the orc hive mind works, even the Tyranid hive mind, but all of that, right? It's like these are almost. It's like they're giving you hints and clues as to how this shit really operates, right?
Dude, this is the thing.
The concept of Astartes, right? Like the genetic modification, like these things wouldn't be. I wouldn't want to make robots. I'd want to make super people. That's exactly correct. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, make super people.
What I'm saying is, we already know how to do it. We already know how it's going to shake down.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
but there's another level to it in which we are the super people, but we are degraded super people. Meaning that if you believe this whole thing about there being giants that were destroyed by the Smithsonian, then it may be that our human form that we have right now is but a lesser fragment of what existed before. And like I said before, well, we are imagination. I really believe that. We are imagination that has been given form. We are made in the image of God. By God, I mean like this universal conscious energy.
Like Vedanta, you just have to realize.
This is something that I talk about this honestly constantly, where I talk about where I'm like, has anybody never noticed that like pretty much all of media kind of points to the same truth about ourselves? You know what I mean? Like everybody, like I feel like we are constantly telling ourselves the same story about ourselves.
Telling the same, everyone's telling the same story and has been for thousands of years.
Yep.
He's like, hey, just wake up.
Well,
wake up.
Right
example,
back to the Vedas, to the Old Testament,
Mm-hmm.
to the Flower Garland Sutra. It tends to, there is, I mean, not to get too much into the perennial philosophy, because there's obvious complications there, but it is true. We do have a universal story that maybe we're in the process of realizing. And that could go with what you will. I mean, the whole UFO thing, there is a fascinating debate whether it is demons or whether it's some machine elf psychic manifestation, or if they are actual material entities or from the future or whatnot. I mean, the possibilities are endless, I guess. Like,
Personally, I think
it was fascinating.
but a lot of
guys-
demonic
oh, you can
possession
go
does
ahead,
come off as demonic, in my opinion. But anyways, who's talking?
Oh,
Noah?
yeah, I think it was Remus.
Oh, Remus, go ahead.
Yeah. Give me a sec here. I think personally, the best language. See, part of the problem here is that the words don't. These words all mean different things to everybody, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the best way to do this is the way that the Muslims do this, which is they don't give a shit about the distinction between Fae or Bigfoot or fucking demons or whatever stupid. Like, fuck you. You're all jinn. You're all just jinn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They're all jinns, yeah.
You're beings. You are all beings of, and the way that they describe it in the Quran. Okay, and I mean proper translation from a man, a guy who speaks Arabic and English and can properly translate this. They are beings of smokeless fire. What does that sound like? That's energy. That's like,
right.
that's
That's exactly what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
energy. It's electricity. There's smokeless flame. So they're all of these energy beings. They're all of these things that don't have a physical presence, whether it's a demon or an elf or Bigfoot or whatever. They're all jinn. They may not be demons per se. Like, think about it this way.
Well, they have
Not every
different
jinn is a
qualifications,
demon.
each of them.
Yeah.
Not
By
every
the way,
jinn
who's
is a
that
demon,
purple
but
hair
every-
anime girl, by the
Every
way?
demon is a jinn.
That's Misato.
Misato.
From what?
That's from
Evangelion.
Evangelion. That's my queen.
Oh, shit. Okay. There you
That's
go.
your girl.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
fucking ban Forever Jung for
I
that.
just
meme they
got.
posted.
I just actually. I've never watched that, but I just got. My uncle sells like comics, like Marvel and DC comics and stuff. But he got actually a few anime comics, and I got to like original, like comics, like weekly
Dude,
release
you
comics
need to,
of
you
Neon
need to watch the
Genesis.
show. You need to watch the show.
Evangelion is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have
I
the
got-
It hits
final
on- it hits
rebuild
on some
movie
shit that
coming
we've
out
been
in 20
talking
years.
about right now.
So
We
we
could
gotta
actually-
get
well,
on it.
we could
It
fast.
hits on the
actually-
Gnostic shit.
Yeah, well, we could
It-
actually
never
relate
seen
the
it.
angels from Evangelion.
It also hits on
to
modernity.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
So
these
sorry, I
DMT
cut you off,
elves.
Remus. So with the
Yeah,
Evangelion.
Well,
Very,
all of
very
this,
much. No, but they are.
well,
It's
like
the same
all-
thing. Like if you think about the angels in Evangelion, they are jinn. That's what a fucking jinn is.
That's
When
exactly what they are.
You see something when you see something doing some shit. Look, listen, Muslim bros, they will tell you this. When you see something doing some jinn shit, it's probably a jinn. Just fucking walk away. Alhamdulillah, bismillah, bismillah, and walk the fuck away. Don't look. Don't
You ever
talk.
see those
Don't do
Arab
nothing.
ghost hunting
Don't do-
videos?
Don't do nothing. Just walk the fuck away. Bismillah.
Well, it's
That's
like
it.
how-
Don't. It's a jinn. Let it be jinn. Let it do jinn shit. It's not for you.
But
Just
okay,
fuck off. Let God
here's the
deal with it.
counter argument to that.
Love a good
Since
gin and tonic.
since we tend to be artists, there are people who, let's say, could be elevated to a demigod status in world culture, like
Yes.
Shakespeare and Cervantes and all these
Healy.
fucking
Best
Asuka,
girl is
all,
passing the booth right
all
now.
all these great artists. Like, I feel like they are associated with the muses, as they talk about, like all these artistic genius inspirations that come into you, and the way you become the jinn. You become somebody who represents the world through the way that they see it, and there is a power in that I think connects one to the astral realm, just like
That was
Nikola
like that
Tesla.
Owen Cyclops comic about the difference between a demon and daemon. And it's like a daemon's like a muse, just
Exactly.
inspiring you. By the way, what do you say? By the way, tuck in your shirt or something. I forget. It was, if someone could find the Owen Cyclops daemon comic, that'd be great. But no, it's true. I mean, that's why a lot of the old school perennialists, they converted to Islam, because they said that it had
Yes.
aspects of each religion within it. It was in some ways, especially Sufi Islam, was almost like the universal mystical school, and according
Yes,
to like Rene Guignon
it's
and
the
other ones.
old. It's like the old perennialist religion. Like that's where if you once you take a dabble in everybody's, you go there because
It has enough
they're
of
cool with that.
Abrahamism. It has enough of more
Exactly.
mystical Eastern pagan schools that were involved in the creation of Islam.
But one thing that I don't know if it has that much of is this. Although I'm sure it has it to a certain
no, it
extent.
does. It has, the Sufism has quite a bit of the
Yeah, like
Kabbalah.
breathing techniques, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
No,
yeah,
it does.
yeah, they do.
But
The
what
reason that
some-
my buddy is So let me just say
Sure,
this
sure.
real quick and I'll
Mhm.
stop. The reason that my buddy says to be wary of Sufi is because Sufis tend to do this thing. I can't remember the Arabic word. It's essentially it's a contract. It's a contract between you and your teacher, your basically your priest or your monks, because it's
Your
Sufism is a little
imam.
bit different. Yeah, your imam's khadim. Now, the khadim is like your every human has a khadim. It's not your soul. It's more like your spirit, but it's not you either. Like it's like a being that's tied to you, like like the traditional Greek idea of the demon, right? Is
Mhm.
that thing.
It's almost like karmic
So
debt in some ways. Like
exactly.
it's
So the idea of a Sufi is you make a contract with their khadim, and that's not kosher. That's not halal. That's a reason that Sufis are a little bit.
Mm.
There's an internal thing with Sufis is because at that point you're making a deal with a jinn. You're no longer dealing with just
yeah, they've been
Allah.
on like
You're
around
talking to a
the
jinn now. Yes.
around the Iranian Peninsula. There's been periods where the Sufis had to go into hiding in various places because of like different
Exactly. It's
persecutions.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Then they got
Yep,
pushed
yep.
into Turkey
They're
and all
basically
that.
they're basically the Masons of Islam. Like that's the way you can
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
true.
when you take that aspect away, though, the Masons, or if we're talking about like the Mithraic cults, if we take all these aspects out of the equation, what we basically have, I'm sorry, but it's a little bit boring. It's basically just people going about their day, praying, and then that's it, and nothing really gets like. It seems like there's a stagnation that would happen when you don't shake things up, when you don't include things that try to be
Okay.
the Faustian
Okay,
rebel
there,
against-
Jason Reza Giorgiani.
You need an antagonist. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that that is something like, otherwise we'd already be there. Otherwise we would already be one with God. So I think that there is something to this game of being able to discover what exactly all this is about. And I think Kundalini plays a big role in it. So Noah, you don't know this, but for all the people who do know this, I know I'm saying it again.
Mhm.
I started doing the Wim Hof method a couple of years ago, and from there I started to develop Kundalini in my back. So Kundalini is this energy that I showed some pictures earlier of it. It's basically like this, it's like this snake-like energy that goes through your spine, and it feels like, I even feel it right now, honestly. It's like an electric fluid, snake-like thing that whenever you breathe slowly in and out, you feel it going up and down. Sometimes it does swirls around your back. Sometimes it like cuts from one side to another. So it's basically prana, the energy that animates the entire universe, going through you, and the end goal is supposed to be that it goes through the central nadi, the Sushumna nadi as it's referred to, goes up into your brain, and you are supposed to experience a feeling of oneness, but that's not the end either. That is basically a way that I guess you could say that people would level up and would gain certain higher insight. And again, I think that this is something that's inside of us. It's something that is a human birthright. It's something that we are capable of. I do not think it's something that people should ignore, but at the same time, people should proceed with caution because it is kind of dangerous as well.
No, that's really interesting actually, because I've always been interested in the Wim Hof stuff, just mainly because of the whole being able to be in cold water, because I surf and I swim a lot.
Nice.
And I've just been, I mean, it's interesting that you said, I mean, I've only gotten to the point of being able to exercise the diaphragm to keep myself warm, but that's absolutely fucking fascinating.
And you get
Absolutely.
visions too. Like you get the third eye, you get like that spark in the center of your vision, and it manifests into other shapes. So when you were talking about drugs, when you were talking about cannabis, a big
Mhm.
problem that I had was that I loved working out and getting high on
Mhm.
vaporized cannabis and working out. Although again, it was a fucking crutch, because afterwards it was so hard for me to get back to working out because I didn't have this feeling of being one with my body and all that shit.
Yep.
But another thing that happened was I got really concrete fucking visions. Like I saw geometric shapes and colors in these very, very juicy, and very detailed, like LSD. I never took LSD. I took mushrooms, but it was very close to mushrooms, that kind of experience. And in a way, it traps you because you're not working out your own willpower to get that same level. So now that I started with the Wim Hof method, I kind of, go from square one, but it's like slowly coming back, which again, like when people talk about seeing the apple, you've heard about that, right? Like people talk
Yes.
about like some people can, some people can't. Well, with the level that I want to get to, and I think this is everybody is capable of getting to this level, is being able to, when you close your eyes, actually see the apple. Meaning it's not like you're imagining it. It's like there is an actual, like, there is electricity that's generating an apple when you close your eyes. So you're not seeing dark. You're not seeing like the blue and purple vortexes that I'm seeing right now. You're able to see an apple just like when you dream, you're able to see dream imagery. And that would be the ultimate fucking internet right there. This is the counterattack against this demonic control system that people want to implement over everybody else through VR. This is the antithesis. This is the answer. The answer is basically meditate the fuck out of yourself and get to a level where you can go into your own internet through your
buy
mind
gold,
and be able to
guns,
contact
and
people.
ammunition.
Master
Yes.
yourself.
Exactly.
Master
Yes.
yourself. Exactly.
Well, to quote Carl Jung about his book on Kundalini yoga, he studied for a few years. When you succeed in awakening the Kundalini so that it starts to move out of its mere potentiality, you necessarily start a world and discover a world which is totally different from our world. It is the world of eternity. Now, there is quite a few pieces of literature that connect the sort of the spiritual awakening of people to a sort of, like, what would you say, radical anti-politics, or what Julius Evola called apolitia, where you are in the world but you are not of the world. And I feel that it is missing in a lot of people who are totally gripped by the auspices of politics nowadays, where now it becomes, in a weird way, a religious phenomenon to a lot of people that must be affirmed in every avenue of life, from the video games you play to the media that you watch to the, even like, they're literally the brand of toilet paper you buy, or you're, if you buy a certain pillow brand, you're a Nazi nowadays. So I guess although that one cartoon of the My Pillow guy was kind of interesting, where My Pillow I'm gonna throw it up in the chat. It's so crazy, this My Pillow cartoon. I'm gonna find it. But anyways,
Wait,
go ahead. Yeah, where My Pillow overthrows the U.S. government.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.